Okay, so I'm Grasswalker. Hello and welcome to this video. It's going to be all about how I have players apply to my game. So I'm going to go through my application form, which a lot of people are going to hear that. They're going to be like, what the hell? But if you're looking to run a game, I think the most important thing about the game you're trying to run is player selection. You don't want to invite people to your game that are going to be garbage or flake out or that don't fit together as a unit. Some people might want to play a certain type of character and other people might hate that type of character. And then what you're doing by being lazy with player selection is guaranteeing yourself issues. So if you make sure to pick up the best players, and trust me, they're out there. If you are planning to run a game and you want to find players and you post your game, you'll get hundreds of responses. If you post to Reddit, Roll20, a couple of Discord servers, you'll get hundreds of people saying, oh, let me in, I want to play. So you need to filter out who's the best and who you want and who fits your game. So I'm going to go through the questions. I just have like an intro section. Hello, here's what I'm doing. This is the process. You do the application form. Then I'll have a conversation with you on Discord because I don't want them to have garbage mics or bad internet connections. And just see how they are as a person in a conversation. Let them ask some questions. It shouldn't take more than 15 to 30 minutes. So if this video goes longer than 30 minutes, then that might be wrong. But we're going to be going through it and talking about it, not just answering it. I've divided into 3 sections: stuff about them, stuff that I want to know, and then just general like safe stuff to make sure that no one gets any toes stepped on and everyone's comfortable and happy. So you ready for questions? And then I like throwing in these joke replies like, oh, I just checked the boxes, you gave me a checkbox, I checked the box. It keeps it lighthearted, it keeps people enjoying itself, it gives people a taste of my humor style, and if they hate that, then they're probably not going to like the game, which is full of that. So you need to know their name. That's the bare minimum. How are you going to play with someone if you don't know what they want to be called? Pronouns is a nice way to approach this because some people don't sound like what you would expect the pronoun that you're going to put on them is. I don't know how to say that in the best way. But basically, some people have real deep, manly voices, but they want pronouns like she and her. So if you just ask them, what pronouns do you want? You just don't misgender anybody, you don't make anybody sad, you don't piss anyone off or upset anybody. Just do that, it's easy. How old are you? Some players, it just, like, I wouldn't take people that are 13 years old into my game. That just feels weird. I don't want to be an adult man hanging around with 13-year-olds once a week. That feels weird to me. Likewise, if somebody puts that they're 80, you know that they might be of a different generation and they might have some stuff you want to check through. It just gives you a sense for trying to keep the party not too far apart in ages, but like you can have 18-year-olds and 40-year-olds in the same game if they get along. You just want to be careful with like 11-year-olds and 80-year-olds. They're not going to have much common ground. You're going to have to see what you could do with that. How much experience do they have with the game? This is pretty easy. You'd expect them to say like, oh, I've never played before, or oh, I've played for 2 years. So if you care about that, this question's important for you. I just like to get a feel for how much they've played so that I know, do I need to handhold this person? Do I need to sit them down and be like, all right, here's character creation, here's the races, or is it assumed they probably know that stuff? Same with this. The platform I use is Roll20. How much experience do you have with Roll20? If they've never used it, that's fine. It just means that I'm going to have to go on a screen share with them and go through it. Like, alright, here's how you click the attack, here's how you fill in your character sheet. If they have that experience, I don't need to do that, but it's nice to know where people styles. Now you go on to the questions which are like profiling. What's their favorite class? You can sort of get a feel for people's play styles, what they enjoy and what they like to see. If someone's like, oh, I only play fighter, they just want to hit stuff, they just want to kill stuff, they're not too worried about stuff. The interesting classes that always come up to me are people that say their favorite is bard or cleric, because that shows someone that's willing to put other people above themselves, because bards and clerics, most of their abilities help other people more than themselves. So those kind of players interest me, and you just get a feel of the profile. Also, if everyone applies and they're all like, I will only play barbarians, you have to decide, am I going to have a group of only barbarians, or am I going to decide which players I want here? Maybe ask them, hey, do you mind playing your second favorite class? Favorite race as well, you get an insight into the person. The big one, the divisive one here, is between People that play humans because they are a human and they want to port themselves into the setting, or people that want to stray as far from human as possible because they're a human every day of their lives. Why would they want to still be a human? They don't want to see humans. Get humans out of here. I'm in that camp. But this is an interesting question because you can get a feel for their players. Ideal magic item, again, just reveals a lot about somebody. If they want a bag of holding, maybe they're a hoarder, maybe they pick everything up, maybe they like coming up with creative solutions to puzzles by looking in the bag, seeing what like shit they've picked up throughout the adventure. Or maybe their ideal magic item is, I just want a sword that hits harder, and you're like, alright, this is great, because as a DM, your role in the game is to make sure everybody's having as much fun as possible. So the more you know about the players that are in that game, the more you can make them have fun, the better they're going to enjoy the game, the better they're going to remember it, and then they're just going to have great memories. So you can give people not exactly what they've asked for. If they're, oh, my ideal magic item is plus 10 to hit, it's like, alright, well, you're not having that, but what about a sword that's plus 2 to hit? It's the same concept, just balanced. You can not give them exactly what they ask for, but you can be in that area, and they'll be super happy with that. This, again, is another profiling question. It's a big one. What do you like to do? I know players that hate RP, only want to do combat. That's not my style, I'm not keen on that. I like a decent chunk of RP, decent chunk of combat, and then a little bit of the other stuff like party downtime, chatting, looting, puzzles. All that stuff I'm not too worried about that much. I like that it's there, but I'm not there to play that. I'm there for the role play, but you kind of need combat because you can't just talk all the time for 4 hours. Sometimes you've got to kill some stuff. But this helps you profile the players. So if someone applies and they're like, oh, I'm 100% RP, I don't want any combat, and someone else is, I don't want any RP, I just want combat, those players are incompatible, and to try and force them in a group, someone's going to be unhappy. Whether it's you because the players aren't getting along, whether it's one of the players because you did too much combat or too much RP, whether it's both of them because you did 50% RP, 50% combat, and they're both pissed at you because neither of them wants half of the stuff that's going on. Favorite animal, this is just, again, like a little bit of a jokey question, but this reveals a lot about people, actually, and I'm quite surprised by that. I had a dude about a couple of years ago who applied to join my game. He put minimal replies for everything, like one-word answers to everything. But for his favorite animal, he went off on ants. He spoke about ants for at least 1,000 words. He had paragraphs and paragraphs about ants. He had pictures of his enclosures, like antariums, whatever they're called. He loved ants. How much he loved ants still infects me. I still kind of like ants because of him. But you'll be surprised what people put to a question like that. Just put something just friendly, just to break it up. They've been talking a lot about themselves in D&Ds. Just break something up. Favorite food, favorite pizza topping, favorite animal. Throw in like a little side question in there. And then why are you here to play D&D? Do you just want to escape, get away from the real world? In which case, a campaign that's based about Ronald Rump's wall that keeps the halflings out, that's not going to land well. If they play D&D to explore a power fantasy, not people aren't usually self-aware about that. They just do it. But some people might be. They're like, oh, I want a power fantasy. I want to be the best in the world. I want to be the chosen one. But your campaign is like mine, and it's gritty realism, and the party's just another bunch of people in the world. They're not the only party. They're not the chosen heroes. There's no prophecies about them. That player's probably not going to fit into that kind of game. So asking them, why are you here to play? And then you look at yourself and it's like, well, what am I providing as a DM? And then you can kind of cross-reference that. Don't take players that are all there for completely different reasons, but also there's always some flexibility. Don't worry too much about it. Next section is stuff that I want to know. Like, I need to know this. I need to know what your Discord is, or your Skype is, or your Reddit username, or whatever it is. However you're going to be playing the game, TeamSpeak. I need a way to actually contact you after you've done the form. So that's always a minimum requirement. Double checking the time and date. So many people will apply to a game and they just don't give a shit about what time or date it is. And then they're like, oh yeah, this is 2 a.m. for me. I can't play this. And they leave after one session or something. Or they no-show the first session. Make sure people are actually doing what they signed up for. My favorite way to do that is to be like, alright, translate the game time from my time to your time and tell me what it is. Tell me why you can make it. How do you make your characters? Do you go art first and build what you see? Do you get a concept? Do you go on r/3d6, pick the min-maxiest broken build possible and try and work off of that? Do you care about their backstory? Do you care about their background? What are the steps you go through to make your character? Because I'm going to be making a character with you as the DM. I don't just let people rock up with whatever and then we start playing the game and it's just a load of mishmash garbage and no one fits together. I like being involved in character creation, asking people what's going on, suggesting stuff, being like, hey, you could be from here or you could be from there, or what kind of race are you feeling like? Here's the breakdown of the local area. Do you want to be from the local area or do you want to be an immigrant from somewhere else? Whatever it is, just knowing their process so that you know how to interact with their process is quite important. Availability, so this is where I'm thinking of doing 2 sessions, making sure that they can attend or that they're going to be around or that you can actually talk to them to schedule the Discord interview, which is what I do. Just getting a feeling for, alright, how much spare time does this person have? Are they going to be there? Are they going to be able to handle the call? Are they going to show up every week? Just generally getting a feel for it. Again, checking that, hey, this is a long-term game. Are you actually going to be here? But then you ask, what are the risks? Like, what might stop you being here? Are you going to get ill? Holidays? Have you got a certain religious holiday that will always be off the table? Are you thinking of getting a new job and you don't know what your hours will be? The more open somebody is about the risks, the more you can get a feel for that person, whether or not they'll be able to commit, but also how honest they are. So many people are just like, oh, there's no risk, I'll be there every week. It's like, alright, we'll see. I just raised the eyebrow, I don't really believe them that much. Everyone has a risk. So the better breakdown somebody gives, the better. Again, just a joke question. Do you like cats? Big yes, medium yes, little yes. Well, no, but actually yes. Don't give them an option. I like cats. If you don't like cats, get out of my game. No, if you don't like cats, put the little yes or whatever. But it's just a joke to throw things up. If people actually hate cats and they read that and they're like, oh, well, I don't have an option here. That's kind of funny. So I've ran pay-to-play games in the past, so I like asking people, how do you feel about them? How much would you be willing to pay? I'll never take a trash player just because they're offering a load of money. And I'm not going to deny the perfect player just because they're not going to pay. But I've ran pay-to-play games in the past. In my video about DM value and player value, I'll link in the description, I talk about the fact that if you're a DM, there's so many people that want to play with you. If you're a good DM, you are an incredibly valuable asset. There's not many of you, us, there's not many of them. So many people want to get into a good game. There will be hundreds. You need to filter them down somehow. Filter out the garbage that are so lazy that they don't even fill out an application form. They're not going to do a good character, whatever. They're out of here. The people that fill it out, some of them might not fit, some of them might not fit together, some of them might trip themselves up with some of the questions. Who knows? But you'll still have a bunch of people, more than you need. A D&D game only needs 5 players, and when I post my applications and when I post my threads that are like, hey, come join my game, I post them to Reddit, I post them to Roll20, I post them to Discord servers, I'll get anywhere from 100 to 500 applicants. I need to filter them out somehow. So an easy way is to figure out how good of a player they are and then see if they're willing to give me money, because I'm a poor university student and I like to eat. So if you're a DM and you think you're a good DM and you're actually a good DM, don't just be some overconfident prick who's not actually that good. Put a question like this in. Get a feel for the market of the players that want to play in your games, and look for yourself whether or not people are willing to pay you, because the Roll20 subscription is not free. Art commissions aren't free. Your time has value. You are putting your time in to plan a game, to prepare the NPCs, to work on your notes, to talk to the players. Even recruiting takes time. Building a world, reading ahead in a module if you're running a module. Running the game itself is 3 to 4 hours a week. You are investing a lot, and the players aren't investing that much. They show up as well, they make a character, but they're being provided a service. They're the ones benefiting from that exchange. So just have a look, see what's out there, and get a feel for whether or not you actually have the value to maybe have some people pay you to cover those expenses. I like to get a feel for what questions people have for me. This says more about them than any other question. Because some people's questions are like, oh, can I take this busted feat with this busted subclass? Are you going to let me do that character? And then you get a feel that they just want to be the best. They just want to smash some stuff. They want the big numbers. And that might be good for some games. Who knows? But they might have different questions like, hey, I'm a woman. Do you let weirdo sexists into the game? That's a question you get quite a lot if you're running games, because people are fucking weirdos. D&D's a hobby mostly populated by people with low social intelligence that don't go out too much, and that's going to piss people off to say, but that's kind of true. It's a hobby that you can pick up online. You don't have to leave the house to do it. There's minimum investment. You just say, hey, can I join your game? And sometimes you get in, and that leads to a lot of bad experiences for a lot of people. So I like having questions like this in to get a read for the person. So building off of that, section 3, it's all about consent. Let's avoid the horror stories. Let's not have anybody like just feeling terrible having played the game. LGBT stuff, some people hate it, some people love it. I have elements of that in my game, and I don't hate gay people or lesbian people or whatever. Just treat them like human beings. That pisses a lot of people off. So I like to double check, hey, are you cool with that? Because I'm cool with that, and if you're not, then that might be a problem. Some people don't know what that is, but you're doing an online application form. You can open a new tab and Google it. So there's kind of a jokey answer in it there. Oh, I clicked it by accident. But this is getting a feel for things. If you've got 3 players that apply and they're LGBT friendly, or they are LGBT themselves, and one guy that hates them and doesn't want to be anywhere near them, those 2 groups aren't compatible. They're probably not going to have a good game together, because it might come up and it might cause an issue, and then you've just kicked the can down the road and guaranteed yourself a problem pretty much. Campaigns are weird. I think campaigns should have a safe word, and I've not actually heard of anyone doing this before ever. I think a lot of things should have a safe word that don't have a safe word. But I just use the word safe word. You're not going to forget what it is. You sat there like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. I need to use the thing that it is the word that it is. They can either PM it to me, or they can whisper it on Roll20, or they can just say it out loud, whatever. As soon as that happens, the session goes on pause. We have like a 5-10 minute break. If you want to go get some drinks, you go do that. And then talk to the person that initiated it, get a feel for, hey, what happened, what went wrong, how do we prevent this in the future, blah, blah, blah. Campaigns don't have these. I've never joined a campaign where the DM said, here's the safe word, here's how you stop a scene you are uncomfortable with. And that's weird, because the DM has this certain power that they can do stuff and you're not supposed to interrupt them, and if the DM starts narrating, everyone else stops whilst he talks. So if you might, the social pressure is there to not say anything and stop the scene. Likewise, if a couple of players are doing something, well, you're just also a player. If 3 players are doing something and you're just one player, you might not feel comfortable saying, hey, stop that. That's fucking weird. Cut that out. So I stick this in here. I set from the precedent that just, we're not having any fucking funny business. If you're feeling uncomfortable, use the safe word, we'll figure it out. If someone's using it all the time, like 15 times every session, they clearly don't fit the game. If it's like, oh, rats come out of the basement, they're like, oh, geez, rats, safe word, I'm not about that. And then they do that to every scene. Clearly, they don't fit the game. They're going to have to be removed. You find a new player, easy enough. But sometimes something will happen. You hear RPG horror stories all the time where a female player feels uncomfortable because someone is either in character or out of character being a total fucking creep to them. Or an NPC is getting raped on screen. Or there's an implication of something, or an enemy, like some people can't handle spiders. There's just a lot of stuff that will just set off a lot of people, and you just set the safe word, you don't have to worry about any of it. And it also reveals a lot about people. This is kind of written a little bit jokingly with this reply, but some people genuinely think that, and they can think that. You can go ahead and you can think that, and then you can not be in my game because you think that. But I'm gonna try and convince you that safe words are a good idea for a game. But if you're in a game or you're running a game, think about setting one for your players, because the last thing anybody wants, your role as a DM is to make everything fun for everybody involved. The least fun thing possible is not having the players have the ability to stop something that they really want to stop because it's making them ridiculously uncomfortable. I've seen that kill groups. I've seen that kill games. Then we go off of this similar theme. Is there anything that is a hard blacklist? So there's different levels to not wanting to see stuff. I don't really want to see sex in a game. I don't want the DM to narrate that one player is thrusting into another player. I don't want to hear that. I'll take my headset off, I'll walk away, I'll get a drink. That's fucking weird and gross and creepy. But that doesn't mean I don't want sex to be in the campaign. If you see a kid on the street, that kid's parents presumably had sex. Or there might be a brothel, which is obviously a sexualized place. So there are different levels to not wanting to see stuff. You might be willing to see something on screen, or you might be willing to see something in the background or have heard of it, or for it to be present, but not want to actually see it. So a hard blacklist is stuff that will never come up. It's not even referenced, just not at all. Commonly, a lot of people are like, oh, I have no limits, I'm cool, I'm hardcore. They just don't think. They don't think that far enough. They're just like, oh, I don't think anything would stop me. And if you're the kind of person sat there watching this and you're thinking, oh, nothing would faze me, I'm fine. Think about, say your character gets drunk and they roll a con save, they fail it, they wake up drunk, blah, blah, blah. Pass out drunk. Would you be comfortable or happy if the DM narrated that after you drank blackout drunk, you woke up the next morning in bed with a naked child that you presumably had sex with? That's fucked up, that's weird. I don't think anybody wants that. The DM forcing a player character to rape a child is something nobody wants in any campaign ever. I hope. Please tell me nobody wants that. So that's a hard blacklist. And there's a lot of stuff like that. And then the soft blacklist is something that applies to even more people. Everyone should have at least something on their hard blacklist, assuming they're human. The soft blacklist is stuff that, alright, it can be in the world, but I don't want to see it. I don't want the DM to narrate it. I don't want the DM to narrate people having sex. I don't want to walk in as a group of party members on a rape. I don't want that. But if a bounty poster is on a wall and it says, kill this bandit, his crimes are murder and rape, that's fine. The rape is in the world, it's kind of dark, it's kind of twisted, but it's there, it's not on screen. As long as it's somewhere that isn't directly being shoved down my throat, it can be a good thing. Same thing with sex between party members and NPCs. If you're into that kind of stuff, go for it and fade to black, and it can be done off screen, and it can be there, and it can provide story hooks, whatever. Critical Role handles it like that, and they handle it pretty well. But there's some stuff that you don't want to see at all, and some stuff that, okay, that's alright, just don't make me engage with it. Don't have it on screen, don't have it be the focus, but have it in the world is okay. Then the stuff where, alright, I don't want this blacklisted, but I want to talk to you about it. Again, this links back to, say you're a female player and you've had some bad experiences with some creeps in your games. You might want to talk to the DM like, hey, what's your stance on creeps? My stance is insta-kick. I have no tolerance for fucking weirdos or problem players or drama queens or just bad people, because there's so many players out there. There's so many people who are going to fill out the application, most of which are going to be willing to pay, that I just have no tolerance for just a piece of shit that's causing a load of problems. Depending on how long they've been in the game, it changes things, whether you try really hard to resolve it or not, but I'm here to run a game. I'm not here to be some kind of therapist problem solver to fix the personality flaws in people. If you're the kind of player to harass another player, you're just out. I'm not dealing with that. You get maybe one warning tops. So this is where players might want to clarify stuff with you, like, hey, how do you handle this? Or, hey, what if I did this? Or, alright, I don't want this blacklisted, but do you handle it in a mature way? And then, just, what, is there anything that I missed? Just give the players the floor. Alright, well, is there anything I missed? Anything else you want to add? And again, there's a joke answer in here. Keep it lighthearted throughout, even though it's kind of a darkish section. It's got a couple of jokes in there. It's got the safe words are for pussies joke, and it's got the you've already asked me too much, stop asking me stuff. Just trying to keep it lighthearted. And that's the full application form. We've been talking about it for 25 minutes, and we've been going in depth with it. We had like a couple minutes before we even started just talking about this. This thing takes 15 minutes, 10 minutes if you're quick, 30 minutes if you're slow. Depends how much you're typing for each. Some people will just be like, oh, what's my favorite race? Ah, asthma. It's like, You didn't give me anything to work with there, buddy. Other people have a couple of paragraphs about that, which is like, oh man, I'm going to skim read this because there's so many applicants. But if you're running a game, the best thing you can do for your game is have an application form. If nothing else, it's because when people are going to try and join your game, some people are just so lazy. They'll just be like, hey, let me in, can I join? Do you want somebody that lazy in your game? Maybe you do, I'm not going to judge, maybe that's what you're about. But for me, if you don't have 15 minutes to do an application form, how are you going to spend 15 minutes making a character? How are you going to show up every week for 4 hours for the next, 2 years, whatever? This is a long-term campaign. I want you to be there. I want you to make a character that's got a bit of depth to it. If you don't have the fucking time or energy to fill in a 15-minute form, you're not going to do anything else. You're not going to show up. You're not going to make a good character. You're not going to care about the game because you haven't cared about joining the game. So if you're a DM looking to up the quality of the players in your game, put an application form in. It filters out 60% of the garbage before you've even started, because the garbage looks at the application form and goes, too much effort. I'll just copy and paste my hi username. Could I join your game please? It looks okay. From this, Discord this. And they just copy and paste that and they'll just spam it at 50 games. And they'll get in a couple of them. And then they'll not care about them and then they'll leave because they didn't invest anything to get in. They didn't spend any time to get in. The DM doesn't know anything about them. They might not fit with the group. You just avoid that whole train wreck by making sure that people spent, alright, they spent 15 minutes going through an application form, and now I know about them. Now I know which players will be compatible, which won't. It's the kind of thing that you want to get a feel for over a long period of time as a DM. Don't just go into it with hard and fast rules, because some people that wouldn't seem compatible, they can have hugely different political views, but that just might not come up. I've had hardcore Trump people with hardcore Hillary people, and I don't give a shit, I'm English, they're American, but it just never comes up because people are playing D&D. But some stuff does come up, some stuff's almost guaranteed to come up. The more conflicts between people you have overlapping, where there's maybe 5 people in the game, and they have overlaps with each, you're going to hit something soon, or eventually, and that'll cause a problem. Whether it's one guy wanted to do more roleplay, one guy wanted to do more combat, or one person hating gay people and a player being gay, that stuff can just come up. And by pretending that it doesn't exist and just letting whoever in the game, you're just guaranteeing yourself issues. So an application form's great. It fills out all the garbage that don't bother to fill it out, and then you can get a feel for who's applying, pick the best players, interview them, talk about what their application said in the interview, oh, you said that Asimar's your favorite because of this, but how did you learn that? Whatever. It's a conversation starter, and it makes sure that everyone's at least a little bit invested in the game, because, hey, things aren't this long. I've never joined a game that's had an application nearly this long, but it's not that long. It's just 15 minutes, and 30 at most, which is about all this video's been, which has been mostly me ranting, and we haven't done the application, but some of these are quick. It's just typing in your name, that's 10 seconds, but we spent a bit more time talking about that. But thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys found this interesting. If you want to steal any questions from this, or just the whole thing itself, feel free to. You are more than welcome to take this whole application form, apply it to your own purposes, and use it to find new players, or you can send it to your existing players to get a feel for who they are. They're already in the game, they're already having fun, whatever, but you can learn a bit about them so that you know how to make them happier. You know what their favourite story hooks are, you know what their favourite items are, so you as a DM can hand them stuff in that area and make them happier. But thank you guys for joining me on this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.